Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Live with Sara, pre-recorded on Facebook, and then we shoot it over to a YouTube channel. Now, I'm SAch, and welcome to my live video chat. If you'll notice, I have a little friend with me today. I got this little feeder last week, and I thought I'd give it a try. It's the neatest little thing, and you can set 4 different amounts of food. You can set it at 4 different times of day, and it has lots of fun features. My favorite feature is this one. I've got my glasses on so I can see the buttons. All right, let me push this button, and I want you to listen. Isn't that hilarious? So if you're someone who works all day, or you're going to be out of the house, or you just forget to feed your pups or your kitties, you can set it up to automatically feed them, and then you can leave them a live recorded message. I know a lot of you love dogs and cats like I do, and pets, of course, and sometimes you're away from the home and you need to automatically feed your dog or cat, and this is the way to go. Isn't that the cutest thing? And if you're looking for it, just go to WoPet. I think it's called WoPet Pet Feeder on Amazon. It's the most coolest thing. Let me play that again for you, for those who didn't hear it. You can leave your pet a pre-recorded message from you.
It's time for lunch, Max and Rosie.
I just love that. I've got it set up. My dogs eat 2 times a day. And I have it set up for 8 o'clock in the morning and for 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because I do feed my dogs twice a day. I just wanted to share that with you because it was just so cute. Well, good morning, everybody. And I see a lot of you already said hello. So let's go ahead and clink in and check out this beautiful cup. I don't know if I showed this to you or not. My friend Anne brought this to me before Christmas and gave it to me. Isn't it gorgeous? And it has a little S for Sara. And one of the things I really love about it is the butterfly. And looky there, morning glories in blue. I think those are morning glories. May not be, but they're just beautiful. And I love this cup. I had a favorite blue cup that was just like this with the ceramic and the rubber top. And I dropped it. It was the weirdest thing. The inside of the cup broke out of the outside. It was like 2 separate pieces. So, of course, I had to throw it away. And it was like a week later, she got to come up and visit us, and she brought us each a cup. So I love it. It's one of my favorites now. Well, we have a lot to talk about today. Again, my table is filled with lots of fun goodies, new yarns on sale, and we're also going to take a minute and make one of these Lips Appliques. I love this. I remember years ago, my sister Lisa had a purse, and she had a bag that was, I think it was navy blue, and it just had lips all over it. And I always thought it was the funnest thing. I always called it her kiss bag. And I thought with us getting near Valentine's Day, it would be a lot of fun to make an applique. And so we're going to do that as well. I just want to wait till more people get in. And I want to take a minute, say hello to everybody. I see Karen and Susie and Alicia, Dana, Carla. Sorry about that. Vicky, Linda, Lisa Ann, Heather, Amanda, Joanne, Talena. What a pretty name. Dawn, Nicole, Grace. I love the name Grace. My daughter's middle name is Grace. And it was kind of fun when we named her, because we were going to name her Gracie Suzanne. And this was, my daughter's 35, so this was a long time ago. And when she was born, my husband said, why don't we name her Elizabeth? And I said, well, do we want to name her Elizabeth Ann? He said, well, Ann means Grace, so let's call her Elizabeth Grace. I'm like, sounds good to me. And then later, when we were doing our ancestry stuff, we spelled our daughter's name Elizabeth with an S, E-L-I-S-A, and we found out later, going through all the ancestry things, that my grandmother on my mom's side, her middle name was Elizabeth, and I knew that, and I sort of forgot until then. And then when we looked it up, her name was also spelled with an S because she was from Germany. So I thought that was kind of cool the way that all worked out. Anyway, Susie, Sarah, love your name. Vicky, Dawn, Marlene, Teresa, Nicole, Melissa. Oh, I see so many of you. Brenda, Aurora, Jacinta. That's a pretty name too. Coy, Vicky, Web Trick. I don't think that's your name. That's probably just a handle, huh? But if it is your name, that's cool too. All right, Heather, Caitlin, let's see, Martha, Ruby. Oh, I'm so glad to see so many of you here. Tabitha, Moriyama, that's a pretty name too. I love names that sing, and I think that's why I like so many of the Spanish names, like Gabriela. It just sings, you know, they just, I don't know, I guess it's my music background. All right, are we ready to talk what's going on this week at Posh Pooch Designs? As we have a lot. The first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead, since we have a bunch of people already here, don't forget to clink in. Clink. And then we're going to shoot right over and do the Lips Applique. And then we'll talk about new patterns, new videos, and new yarns. Alrighty? So I'm going to click that other camera. And you'll see I've got my, oops, left my kitty in my way. I've got my granny squares here, and we're going to talk about those just a little bit later. And here is the Lips Applique, and you'll notice I left the strings or the yarn tails on both sides, and that's because it's really good to leave those. It gives you something to sew it in place on if you're going to sew it. So what you need to make a little pair of lips is some worsted weight yarn. This one is just a red sparkle that I had in my yarn stash. And this is just a pink that I'm going to use just because pink's a little bit easier to see than red sometimes. So I'm going to set that one aside. We're going to be stitching with our H hook. And this H hook is a 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle just to weave in those ends and make sure they're over to the edge. And of course you'll need some scissors to clip off your yarn. All right, now I've got the camera in nice and close because what we're going to be doing is we're going to chain across, then we're going to stitch this shape. And you can see there's many different stitches in there. There's singles and halves, and I think some triples. Let me look at my pattern, and some double crochets. And we'll be working across the top of the lips. And then we're going to turn our work, and we're going to work across the back side of the chain and stitch the bottom of our lips. Alrighty. Now this measures approximately 4 inches. If you want it a little bit smaller, you can always go down a hook size or also go down a yarn size. This is, like I said, a worsted weight number 4. You might want to make it a number 3 if you want it just a little bit smaller. But you can do it any size, to be honest with you. Just make sure your crochet hook matches your yarn. And usually most of your yarns will give you a recommended crochet hook size on the packaging. But remember, that's always just a suggestion. You don't have to do what they say. It's just a suggestion. All right, so I'm just going to move that out of the way. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin chaining 14 chains. So we're going to leave ourselves a little bit of a tail. That way we can sew that end on. And I'll explain that a little more when we get finished. Here's my slip knot. And I do recommend that you chain this 14 chains just a little bit loose, since we're going to be working in both sides of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whoops, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have 14 chains, and you can see I stitched them just a little bit loose. Fuzzball out of the way there. All right, now we're going to move across the top of the lips first. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Don't ever count the loop that's on your hook. 1, 2. So we're going to go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both those loops. There's our single crochet. Now we're going to stitch a half double crochet in the next stitch or the next chain. Yarn over, go in that next chain, pull up a loop. There's your 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull that through all 3 of those loops. That's our half double crochet. Now we're going to stitch a double crochet in the next. Yarn over, go in the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through that second 2. And you can see how the shape of the lip is already forming because we started with the smaller and we're going taller. All right, now in the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 triples. And we do that by putting 2 wraps on our hook. And don't do those too tightly. You just want them just to sit there. We're going to go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. Now we have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over, and go through the last 2. And we're going to stitch a second triple in that same chain. So 2 loops, go in that same chain, pull up a stitch, or a loop I should say, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, that one was a little splitty, wasn't it? And yarn over and go through 2. There's the top of our lips. Now we're going to work back down to form this little dip. So we'll put a double crochet in the next. Then we'll put a half double crochet in the next. And we'll single crochet in the next. See how that's the first lip of our, or the bump of our lip? All right, so now we're going to do the other side, and we're just going to repeat what we just did. So we're going to half double crochet in the next. We'll double crochet in the next. There we go. We'll put 2 triples. Last 2 loops. All right, so there's our 2 triples, and now we're just going to repeat what we did on this end, in reverse of course. Double crochet, half double crochet, and a single crochet. All right, so let's take a look at it. There's our lips on the top. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work. We'll move that tail out of the way. And we're going to work on the back side, or the bottom loops, working this way. This is called working on the opposite or other side of the chain. All right? Okay, we're going to begin with a single crochet in the single crochet. Make sure that's out of the way. There we go. You want to get that leftover tail out of the way just so it's not on the front. We want it on the back side when we stitch. All right, we're going to work a half double crochet in the next 2. So all right, there we go. Then we'll work a double crochet in the next 2. Now you probably hear my Maximo snoring in the background. That's my little white chihuahua. He's been a little bit sick, and I gave him some medicine for his sinuses and his chest congestion. And so he's sleeping really hard, and so he's snoring. So please ignore that. All right, we're going to stitch 1 triple in the next stitch. All right. And now this brings us to the center, and you should be on that center single crochet. And we're going to stitch 2 triples in that single crochet. There's 1 and 2. Now this pink yarn I'm using here is just a little bit splitty. I'm not sure why. It's just some I had in my stash. Just I'd probably left over Red Heart Super Saver or something. All right, so there's our center, and now we're going to do all of this in reverse. So we'll stitch 1 triple in the next. Then we'll stitch a double crochet in the next 2. We'll stitch a half double crochet in the next 2. And then we'll end with the single crochet. All right, now there's your lips. Aren't those cute? I'm going to leave a long tail of yarn. And what I do want to do, I'm going to pull that like that, and you'll notice they'll be off just a little bit there. And so what I do is I just take my needle, thread it on that tail of yarn, and I go through that first single crochet of the previous row and just kind of pull that in, and I'll make a loop. And that will hold that. All right. And now you've got your lips, you've got two ends of your yarn, so you can attach it to a pillow, a bag, a purse, a hat, or whatever that you want to. Isn't that fun? I really like the pink one. I may have to switch it out. Oh, it's on this side. I may have to switch it out for my red one. All right, so that's our demonstration for today, just to make some fun lips. Thank you, Carla, for saying you were sorry for my fur baby. Maximo, my little white Chihuahua, he's actually about 3/4 Chihuahua, and he's got some miniature English Bulldog in him from a few generations back. And he has that reverse sneeze and that reverse cough that a lot of the miniature English Bulldogs have. And when the weather changes, as we're having huge blizzard storms today, and the wind was, and the snow was just blowing everywhere, and we live out in the country a little bit, and out of town, and the wind is just too much for him, and it really messes up his sinuses. And so I've got some little medication. It's basically, it's similar. It's what the vet recommends that I give him, which is similar to like a child's decongestant or whatever. But it makes him really sleepy. And because he has that reverse sneeze that's similar to the miniature English Bulldogs, he snores terribly. And he kept me up half the night. I was so worried about him. But he's doing pretty good this morning. He ate about half his breakfast. So anyway, that's my pooches. I love my dogs. Y'all know that. Okay, now, you know, those lips can be put on a dog sweater or a dog bandana. You can add them to anything. You know, maybe I should put one on this side too, huh? Oh, wouldn't it be fun to make it into a necklace? Oh, I love that sort of, my brain, once I start thinking creatively, it just goes off the rails. All right, let's talk about some new yarns real quick, and then we'll talk about some new patterns. Yesterday, I ran into Michael's, and they were having a spectacular sale. They're having a sale this is Michael's craft store. Buy two, get the third one free. And so I picked up some nice chunky of these, because I've got plans for these nice and chunky ones. I got several in several colors. And that's a good deal, because these I think are $7.99. And if you buy two, you get the third one for free. And a lot of times you need that third one for a project, right? And so I wanted to make sure I had that. Let me toss that over there. The other thing that was happening when I was at Michael's is they had a whole bunch of clearance, and which is kind of cool. And I was able to pick up a few more of the cupcake cakes. I should have grabbed them. I don't have them over here. But one of the things I picked up were these. Okay, and these are discontinued colors. And a lot of people have bought some, and they're working on a project, and I see it all the time in the groups. Oh no, I need another cake. It's discontinued. Check out Michael's, because when I was in there, there was a gentleman who had a whole buggy full of these, and I wanted a second one of these. And this, because I like the way that the blue and the yellow works. And it reminds me of kind of like a sailboat or something. Let's see, this one is called Blueberry Parfait. Great name for it, because it's blue and green. And I wanted a second one, okay? So when the guy wasn't looking, I pulled a quick switch on him, and I took another color, and I put that in and took this one. And I asked him, I said, afterwards, he said, did you just switch those on me? I said, yes, I need two of this one. Is that okay? Because these are $2. $2.97, $3. Which is regularly $7.99. So I thought it was a really great deal. And I like to at least have two, you know. And so anyway, he said, well, what I do is I get all the discontinued ones and I sell them on eBay. And then he gets full price for them, which is smart, you know, if that's what you want to do. But if you run out of a color and you have to buy it online, it's going to cost you more money. And so another place to check that I have found discontinued colors is Tuesday mornings. And I did purchase, oh, they're over in that bag. I should have grabbed them too. Several more of these in some different colors. the Karen Cakes and the Karen Pops. I think they're called Pops. I'll have to look at my... I didn't put them up there either. Oh, Burnett Pop. That's what they're called. And I got some more of those. They're down there. From Tuesday morning. And I got them for, I think, $1.70, $1.97 a piece. And I always try to get 3. And if I can't get 3, I at least get 2. One, sometimes you can do a good project. And it is good if you've got some really great colors. But a lot of times it's not enough, you know. So anyway, then I came across these. And this is absolutely gorgeous. This is the Velux. I got a gray and I got a blush. I think this is called blush. Lilac is what it's called. Anyway, aren't those gorgeous? Let me show you this yarn up close. Can you see that? I'm trying to put it right in front of the camera. It is velvet. I have another brand of velvet that I bought, but it's a little bit, when you work with it, the pieces kind of fluff off of it. And I want to say it's a Lion brand. These are Lion brand also. Whoops. But they didn't come in a cake. It came in a skein. Skein or skein. It's so funny. I get people correct me all the time. Down south, I'm from Oklahoma. Originally grew up there. My husband was in the Air Force. We traveled the world and we went back to Oklahoma for a while. And then we've been up here in Colorado about 8 years. But I'm from Oklahoma. And when I learned to crochet, everybody called them skeins. And then I learned online that they're skeins. But down south, we call them skeins. So if you feel the need to correct me, it's okay. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But, you know, anywho, that's my yarn finds for the week. This time of year, go to Joann's, go to Hobby Lobby, go to Michael's, because this is the time of year they're getting rid of a lot of colors, and they're going to be bringing out the new colors late spring. It's late spring and early fall are the 2 times when they're bringing out changes in colors. A lot of the stores are going to start carrying more of the cotton yarns. And so also the yarn that comes, well, what is it called? It looks like a big braid. Let me see if I've got some hanging out over there. Oh, the Karen Pantone. That's what it is. They're all on sale also. They were like, I want to say $9.97, and they went to $6, and now they're like $2.50. And I think a lot of people didn't care for them because you had to take them apart, and they're all separate balls, and then you have to join them all together. And that's nice if you want those colors. And I've worked with it some. The yarn itself is luscious to work with, but I didn't care for having to piece it all together. Alrighty? That's the yarn finds for this week. Okay, let's talk about some patterns. If you'll notice, right behind me on this side, I have a cow. That's the Lacy Granny Square or Lacy Granny cow. And it's a really simple cow. It doesn't even take more than about, I don't know, 4, maybe 3 ounces. I have to look at my other, I didn't bring the whole pattern up here to look at with me. But it's a really great pattern and it's beautiful. It's completely adjustable for the length and for the width. It's great for men and women. And it has that little ruffle on the edge. Let me grab this one. Here's the one that I made out of the Unforgettable. And you'll notice it's got this little ruffly edge. Well, if you're making this for a gentleman or someone who just doesn't want that ruffly edge, you can make it without it. And it's just a really nice cowl. And I really like wearing this style because if it's cold, you can scrunch it up around your neck. Okay? Stick it in your collar or your coat. But if it's not cold and you just want a fashion statement, of course I wrinkled this one all up. There we go. Then it's just a really pretty cowl to wear to top off a blouse or a sweater. You can wear it with, you know, a dress, fancy outing, evening outing, lunch. Put it on with a t-shirt and a pair of jeans and you've got an extra little pizzazz. And you can also make this out of cotton if you want it to be lightweight. You can make it out of cotton. So it's just a great, easy pattern. It's a new pattern out there. You can find it on Ravelry. We did the video. It's on YouTube. So you can find it there as well. Super easy pattern. Yesterday we did square or stitch. I called it stitch number 1 because a lot of people call it the granny square stitch. But it is the basic granny square. And for our Grand-tastic year-long crochet along. And if you watch the video, I put the video out there and the pattern, and I also set up a page. And the way that that's going to work is as I do the new pattern and the new video, I'll link everything to this one page. And then all you have to do is go to that page, and I always put the link on the new pattern and on the video so you can go there and find all the squares. And the way it's going to work is each month you'll have a new square. They're all 6-inch squares, and you can see I have 4 here. And you'll need to make 4 of the same one each month. Got a little tickle. And then what we're doing is we're beginning with the basics of making a granny square, and then each month it'll become more and more difficult. And someone asked me, do you need to weave in all your ends? Now, I didn't, but what I like to do is on each square, go ahead and weave the end in, and it's nice and neat and tidy, and then I can set it on my blocking board and make sure that it's square. Do you have to block your squares? Absolutely not. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. It's just a preference, and I do it just because it makes it easier to put the squares together if they line up nice and neatly. All right? Now, the other question is, can they join them as they go? You can, but I'm not going to, because we're going to be making 12 different squares, 4 of each. And if you begin putting yours together, you'll have all the ones that are the same together. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them all done. There'll be 48 total. And then I'm going to mix them all up all kind of fun way. And then I'm going to put them together. And then and I'll show you how to do that as well when we're finished. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I didn't want, a lot of people will do a square a week or 2 squares a week or whatever. I didn't want it to be over stressful so that you feel like, oh, I've got to get these done because next week's coming. When you do 1 square a month with 4 of each one, it gives you time to get it done, and you're not, you know, like stressing yourself out making sure you get them all done in time. And even if you don't, they'll always be on my blog. They'll always be on YouTube, and you can always go back and revisit how to do those if you want to. And you can do them all in 1 square. You can, you know, if you want to make them all the 1 square, you can. It's up to you. The other thing is, I'm doing them all in a solid color. You can use up your scrap yarns. You can use variegated. You can use ombre, whatever you want to do. The main thing is, we're on all your crochet squares, use the same crochet hook, which we're using the H, and use the same weight of yarn, which we're using worsted weight number 4, and mine are all going to be in Super Saver. I keep calling this aqua, but I think it's called Turk, T-U-R-Q. I didn't save the paper. I can't believe I didn't save the paper, but it's just Red Heart Super Saver that I have on hand, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm even going to join them all in the same color. And if you want to know all the information, just click on that video. Underneath the video, there is a box. And sometimes there's an arrow on the side. Depends on your phone or your iPad or what you're using. You can click where it says see more, or there'll be a little arrow. There'll be a little arrow. And you just click that and it'll come down. And there'll be links in there where you can click to find what you need. Alrighty? So that is the year-long crochet along. And I'll give you, you know, till the 3rd week of February. So what I'm going to do is the 3rd Monday, unless it's like a holiday, big like Christmas or something that doesn't work out, I'm going to try on the 3rd Monday of each month to release the new pattern. I've already got February's ready. Not the video, but the pattern all worked out and the stitches and things. So, I mean, we're ready to go. It's going to be a lot of fun. And February's square is going to be the solid granny. And a lot of people struggle with it because it can get too curly. And I'll show you a special technique that I do that makes it a little bit easier. One thing to remember. Like I said before, I've been crocheting for 40 years. And when I first started, there's a lot of things that I learned along the way. And it's really interesting because a lot of those things are coming back. They're renaming them things. Like I learned how to do joins, and nowadays they call them the Russian join. Well, when I learned from a book from, I think it was 1897 or something, or 1902 or something. It was, and I found that book online actually, and I have it, not in book form, but in PDF form. But anyway, they had a page and just had all different kinds of joins on it. You know, now, and I don't know why they call it the Russian join. I never could figure that out. I tried to find it. I couldn't figure it out. You know, things like that. Another thing is I've always done the chain 5 circle to start my granny squares, and a lot of people are asking if they can do the magic circle. Well, years ago, I don't even know why it was called a magic circle or a magic ring, because years ago it was just another way of starting a project. It wasn't called that. And so when people talk about that, I didn't even know what it was. I had to look it up. And so it's kind of interesting how things that were really, really old are returning, and people are naming them different things. And it's okay. I don't mind, because to me, crochet is art. And art, it's an art that's ever changing and ever growing. And I love that a lot of younger people are getting involved in it because it keeps the art alive. Alrighty. Okay. Another thing that we did this week was the graph heart coasters. And this is the original one. This is the one that's in cotton. And then this is the one that I did for the demonstration. That pattern's out there as well as the video. And the neat thing about it is you can go to my blog and just copy and paste that graph. And I wanted to show you, you can use the graph for anything. And this is going to be a pillow. And I did it with burlap blanket because I'm making a big blanket for my couch in the living room, which it's the biggest blanket I've ever made. It is huge. It's like 12 feet long by 6 feet wide for a great big leather sofa. And the thing is, I didn't make it long enough. I'm going to have to make it wider because I want to be able to tuck it in so it doesn't slide off. You know, leather can be uncomfortable in the summer. And so I want a nice soft blanket on there. Alrighty, so that's what happened this week at Push Pooch Designs. Oh my goodness. I told you I had a bunch of stuff to show you. Now, we do have some fun things coming up. We've got a few more Valentine or heart type patterns. One is an older pattern that I'm revisiting. Another is a new pattern. And then we have some other fun things. I've received some new yarns from a couple different companies. I'm going to have some new patterns out there for you. And it's one of the things I love designing patterns. And a lot of times I have some that I wrote, like I said, almost 40 years ago that I'm sort of revisiting. And it was kind of funny. I did I can't remember what the pattern was. And this woman contacted me and accused me of stealing her pattern. And I said, but I wrote this in like 1981 or something. She's like, well, I released it in 2007. I said, yeah, I didn't steal your pattern. We just thought alike, you know. And so sometimes those things happen, you know, but because my stuff was so old, it happens, you know. But I still think it's wonderful because, like I said, crochet is an ever-growing and ever-changing art. And people are coming up with new ideas and new techniques, new yarns, you know, and it's just fun. It's just so much fun. And it's another thing to remember is a lot of times people get frustrated with crochet. And I do this thing where if I'm working on a design and it's just not coming together, it gets put in a zip bag and it gets put in the corner, in the naughty corner. And then later, I might have some weird thought and I'm like, oh, I know what I did wrong. So then I go get it out of the bag and I, you know, come up with a new design. So anywho, I'm going to let you go. This has been fun today. Go make yourself some lips. Wouldn't it be fun to put them on a headband? So anyway, I just thought it would be fun to do a fun little crochet together. I love to do those. And I love, even if I make a mistake and have to recount or whatever, I still love doing them because they're fun. And I just really want to thank you all for being a part of Posh Pooch Designs and how we've changed and grown through the years. And, you know, working my patterns and just having fun with them and using your own imaginations and tweaking and having fun. And also, thank you for being a part of my YouTube channel. We have officially started our 3rd year. And I am so excited because I'm going to have, you know, I told y'all my birthday was February 12th, and it is on a Tuesday. And I'm so excited. I've got a new giveaway I'm going to give away that day. It's another kit, but it's not one I put together. It's another one that another company did. And I'm going to have a new hat for my birthday coming out. It's going to be so much fun. And I just want to have a virtual birthday party on the 12th. And so make sure you pop in on February 12th. That's a Tuesday for my birthday party. I'm going to have some giveaways and some fun times, and might even have another crochet together. I'm thinking of maybe doing a balloon. Wouldn't that be fun? All right, so like I said, I'm going to let you go. I want you all to have a wonderful week, and if it's snowing where you are, stay warm, and if it's not, thank God. It's okay. I love the snow. See you next week.